Bienvenue, my beautiful bubbles. Today we're going to do oven-fried, authentic KFC chicken. The story goes in 2016, a reporter went to Claudia Sanders' house, or one of the relatives, and actually found the official KFC recipe. I gotta put the original recipe up over my face right now. You are looking at it right now. This is the official one, confirmed by Claudia Sanders, Colonel Sanders' second wife. Now, I've always wanted to try this recipe. It's been 4 years, and I finally got all the spices together. Yes, the 12 secret spices finally revealed. Now, this isn't the same recipe that they use nowadays. I've actually been doing my research since 2012. They actually use a combination of spices that they've kind of made. It's called the Marriott K spices, specifically designed for the corporate KFC, because they did change the recipe, I think, in the early 90s, but I digress. So for oven fried chicken, you actually use far less oil than you would conventional frying, and the original recipe does actually call for pressure frying. So that's quite a lot of grease, but today we're using half the amount, and with all the bang. You get a fried chicken experience without getting your deep fryer out, which I've never personally been successful. Like, it was raw and then I had to put it back in. Like, frying chicken is just a whole thing, so this is a lot easier. So we're going to start off with flour. We're going to make the famous batter. Now, I worked at a KFC for about 2 years, so I'll give you a pretty clear picture on whether this smells better than the recipe that they use now, or does it match? All right, so the recipe calls for 2 cups of flour. Now, when you make this batter, you could actually seal it in an airtight container and seal it for about 2 weeks, and it'll concentrate the flavors. I do believe the original recipe was cake flour, if I'm not mistaken, but that was earlier speculation when the recipe was not official. All right. So I like to have even scoops. So I like to be really precise with it. I think even with cooking, I like to be a little bit precise, even though you don't have to with cooking. With baking, no excuse. You need to, that's 2 cups of flour. Now the first ingredient is 2/3 tablespoons of salt. Now, I have made a lot of these recipes, a lot of copycat recipes, and what we speculated on what the recipe was back then. And there's just not enough salt. So, and especially now there's MSG in it as well. So I add quite a bit. I'm not going to measure. This may seem alarming, but for some reason the flour dilutes the flavor. So I'm going to get my teaspoon. All the measurements are in teaspoons as well. You saw the recipes. So half a teaspoon of thyme for the first one. So I have it all laid out here. The no name brand. Half a teaspoon, maybe a little less. Like that. Half a teaspoon of basil. Like that. Earlier copycat recipes called for sage. So seeing that oregano and basil is in it, I was very surprised. So, and also 1/3 of oregano. So not as much. This is a hint spice. Yeah, that's about 1/3 right there. 1 teaspoon of celery salt. 1 teaspoon celery salt. Just like that. Goes in there. And now this one is a surprising flavor, dried mustard. This is great for potato salad. This is great for a dill salad. Whatever salad you want, it just adds that kind of sour note to it. I love that kind of nutty and sour note it gives to everything. So I like to put a little bit into the spoon, just like that. Goes in there. Well, I think all recipes call for a lot of paprika. Paprika and chicken is a match made in heaven. I mean, they're married, right? No, I'm just kidding. So, it's actually 4 teaspoons of paprika. Now, I love it. It's smoky. It adds a little bit of acidity. And this bottle in 4. And 2 teaspoons of garlic salt as well. 1 and 2. And this is kind of surprising because most of the copycat recipes ask for like a smidgen of ginger, but there's quite a lot of ginger in this. So actually 1 teaspoon of ginger. That's quite a lot. It's especially strong spice. Again, just use the edge of your knife And now, the pièce de la resistance, it is the white pepper. Now, back in the 50s, many people didn't even know how to use white pepper or knew that it existed. The Colonel was very, very smart in that respect. It is actually a little bit more stronger of a flavor than pepper. It's a little bit spicier. It just goes great with any cream sauce or chicken, obviously. I just love white pepper. And this is the main ingredient in KFC chicken, the real chicken recipe. So it calls for 3 teaspoons, so I'm just gonna pass it in there. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so here is the money shot. Me mixing all of those 12 beautiful spices all together. The Colonel knew what he was doing. Woo. Alright, so now we're going to start our dredging station. So it's just a basic batter recipe. I'm probably going to use about 4 eggs. I'm going to try it one-handed. So it's about 4 eggs for about 7. I'll try 3 eggs. Let me try this one-handed. Oh, I'm a real chef. Now you're going to get your whisk and just whisk it all up. You can also add some milk into it as well. I think the Colonel actually marinated his chicken in buttermilk as well. Your like battered chicken finger ready. So with clean hands, get your first piece of chicken. It's flour first. You want to line a pan with tin foil. This is going to be where the chicken's going to fry. Get all crispy in the oven, you know what I mean? So you want about 1/3 of the way of oil. Now it seems like a lot, but it's still not as much as you would if you're going to fry a chicken in a fryer. So you just want to eyeball it. You want it to be about 1/3 of the way up the chicken. There we go. So I use almost half of this, so it looks like about 1 cup of oil, maybe a little bit more. I was going to make French fries, but this is probably not going to be enough today. Today it's all about the KFC chicken. First into the flour. And you want to stretch the skin. As an ex-KFC employee, we stretch the skin like that. But we don't use egg. I'm pretty sure the batter has egg already included in it. The ingredients of the bag are online, but they don't say the specific spices either. And then you want to go back into it. Now this is something that I do. I like to just toss it, make sure all the egg is coated. So you want to continue with each piece, and I'll be right back. Alright, so my oven has been set for 350 for a while, excuse my nails. Here is the chicken all sitting in the oil. I actually used to coat the tops with some fresh oil, just so both sides can cook. But either way, both sides are going to get fried because you do flip it during half the time as well. So you're just going to go to the timer here. Set it for 30 minutes for the first side. And as soon as I put it in the oven, I'm going to set that timer. It's been preheating for a while. There we go. Timer set for 30 minutes. I'll see you in a half a sec. But I'm really liking how that's looking. Let me just zoom in there. Yeah, a little bit of food porn there. So let me flip this over. So beautiful right now. So I'm going to put them in again for another 30 minutes on the other side. The other side is finished. It's been the allotted amount of time of 30 minutes on the other side. I went ahead and put it underneath a tin foil, and you want to let it rest for 10 minutes. This is the golden rule for any meat that you want to cook. You also want to let it rest before you even start cooking it. You want to make sure it's at room temperature before you even cook it to ensure that it keeps its moisture. Moist. Your favorite word, I know it is. So I didn't film that. It's very, very difficult to film and use a phone at the same time, you know what I mean? So I'm actually going to take a piece of chicken. We're going to do the final taste test. Alright, so now here's the moment we've all been waiting for. Does this really taste like the authentic KFC chicken recipe? So I do have a tradition when I have my KFC. I always take the skin off the chicken and eat it last. Like as soon as I heard KFC has a whole bunch, like they made bags of chicken skin, I want it in bulk. So I isolated the chicken skin here, the darkest part of the meat. Now I will admit, I couldn't remember if I put it in for 30 minutes at a time at 350. I would put it in 20 minutes at 400 and 20 minutes on per side, so 40 minutes in total. So do that next time. Tag me down below. Make sure to leave a comment if you do this recipe and do those things that I suggest. Well, here's some chicken skin here. There's a little bit of food corn for you. So here is the moment of truth. Okay, you got a little bit of the crunch there. First thing I'll talk about, salt into garlic powder. That's a very pronounced flavor. The white pepper, the ginger, it literally brings me back to KFC. This is incredible, but also it's more complex than you would ever expect at a KFC these days. Although I love my big crunch, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you try this recipe yourself, and because you can make your own KFC chicken at home, and it's way better than you could ever get at the restaurants. I love you all so much. Au revoir, my beautiful bubbles.